Morning, everybody. Tuesday, April 7th. Review of day 4 of our stay at home order here in Florida. Um, Yesterday was just not a good day for me. Everywhere I went, people made fun of my masks, talked stupid crap about how they would never wear one. Uh, I cannot stand ignorance. It really pisses me off. I'm bipolar as hell, and I'm also getting older and grouchier. But I got to remember these are the people who, of those who are actually registered to vote for a Republican every time, whether or not they're the best person for the job, which is ridiculous. You vote for the best person for the job, not your party. But anyway, yeah, everywhere I went yesterday, I was the only one wearing a mask. And that's irritating because over the weekend, I ran into people with masks. And then Monday morning comes and they shed them. Uh, wow. Over the weekend, we had like 3,000 more people infected in Florida, or should I say diagnosed infected in Florida, and they figure Monday morning is a good day to just dump all the safety protocols. I just don't get it. Uh, Seeing a lot of coronavirus stuff popping up, different ways to track it and whatnot. Some of which the White House is using, some of which news channels are touting, and a lot of it's very useful and real information. It's not coming from a news source of any kind. It's coming from actual government sources. And those of you who don't trust the government, this is the time to trust them because they're the only ones that can stop this. We here in the streets, the only power we have to stop it is to stay at home. They have to deal with it. They have to provide for us. They have to try and make things safer for us. And, you know, just got to pay attention, people. And yesterday was pretty nice. There wasn't many allergens all day until late afternoon. And then things got really bad. Like this morning, it's just so much pollen in the air. I got postnasal drip going on like crazy. But you know, it's ridiculous how far behind in the state of alarm we both were and are here in America. Um, my mailman was talking last year about, hey man, have you seen what's going on in China? Talking about locking down and all that stuff. And everybody here was like, oh, that ain't gonna happen here. Then they see another country, oh no, it still ain't gonna happen here. They see Canada locking down toilet paper, no, stores empty. Oh, it won't happen here. I guess it's maybe because they were listening to people like Trump. I don't know. Um, America is pretty small-minded on the whole, not the entire country, but we're so caught up in the individualism concept that I don't know. Most Americans just don't think outside themselves. And I get that. Having grown up in the 80s, the me generation, and in the 90s, it took the me generation to a whole nother level. I understand the need to be an individual, the desire to say, I got this, but none of us have this. We don't got this. This is not in our under our control. This is not something we can affect. This is not something we can overpower. And like I said, I can't stand ignorance. And the older I get, the less I can stand it. Nothing like coffee in the morning. If you're not a coffee drinker, I feel sorry for you. one of my favorite Facebook posts says, "There is no life without water. Without water, there is no coffee. Without coffee, I may just kill you." Yeah, that's about the truth of it. But yeah, day 4. I just don't know, man. Did somebody say something on the news over the weekend, Trump or anybody, that made people feel more relaxed? I don't get it. I watch all the news apps. I watch CDC. I watch Florida Department of Health. Of course, I watch what our governor says, because even though he's a Republican, he's not a bad guy, and I recognized that during the election process. I said, of the Republicans, this guy's pretty good. And he would not have been my first choice, of course, but of the Republicans, he was my first choice. And, he stalled on all this stuff. He stalled closing the beaches. He stalled telling people to stay home. But then again, of course, he is personal friends with Trump. Who is, by the way, the one who told him how to win the governor's seat in the first place, to use racial motivation. Because he was running against DeSantis was running against a black guy. On live news, he said, "Don't monkey things up," And then the next day he said, "Oh, I just misspoke." For those of you who recognize racism in all its forms, trust me, he was using racial motivation. And here in the South, where unfortunately there's still a lot of small-mindedness as far as that goes, it worked. He barely won the governor's seat, but he did win it. Excuse me, this post-nasal drip's driving me crazy. Just came in from outside. Now that's the allergy the allergy season thing. I don't know what it's like where you're at, but here the pollen is getting really bad, especially the oak pollen. And as the years go by, it seems kind of like the pollen's getting worse. We had a really dry winter, so it's surprising to me to have this much pollen going on this early in the season. And it's going to create more problems as far as people thinking others are sick, and probably, although I'm not sure, probably will facilitate some people getting sick. I mean, if your sinuses are already irritated, if your throat's already irritated, I would think it'd be a little easier to get infected. But again, that's just a thought. I don't have any proof of that. And at least I'm admitting that. Most people just share it like it's facts. So I know I don't have all the answers, and I'm a paranoid schizophrenic, and I know I don't have all the answers. So I mean, that's just like the total bipolar opposite of a paranoid schizophrenic. We're supposed to believe we know everything. We are the way. We are the path. And while in psychotic episode, I thought I was Jesus Christ reincarnated, and that's no joke. I really did. I was at a 14-month psychotic episode, before I got back on meds. This was back when I robbed a pharmacy to feed my drug habit, back then, 2010. And, that's the thing that I wanted to address today. Mental health issues and this whole coronavirus mess. On the whole, society at large is a lot grumpier than we used to be. There's more tension than there's been in a long time. And not a lot of people realize that it's mental illness. Those of us who have schizophrenia, for example, we have delusionary thought processes. We can't stop them. Best we can do is curb them a little bit. Constant scenarios playing out in our heads that truthfully are fantasy, but the fact that they could be real is the reason they keep rolling through our heads. This is a dangerous time for people who are mentally unstable because you're telling them to isolate, but isolation is one of the worst things for mental health issues. It gives them an excuse to be shut-ins and left only to their paranoid delusions, conspiracy theories, so on and so forth. Which is not to say some conspiracy theories aren't true. They are, but usually you don't have the proof of it until many years later when somebody finally says, hell yeah, this was happening. I didn't want to say anything at the time. You know. But look out for those with mental health issues right now because, for one thing, they may use it as an excuse to get off their medications. People who are in delusionary states of mind don't make the best decisions. Not everybody's like me who tries to rationalize every little process before they act. I mean, other than my temper, that is. I got pretty good control of it, but not. I could have better. Most mentally ill people that I know of, it's something they want to take care of. But there's a large portion of the mentally ill who think they know better than the doctors. Believe me, I've been around them. I've known them. I spent 6 months at the state hospital with them. So, trust me when I say this is a dangerous time for anyone mentally ill. Those who don't know they're mentally ill yet are suffering depression and anxiety because of this, and they don't know why. They just think, oh, well, I'm bummed out, or whatever the situation may be. Yeah, they're bummed out. It's just the fact that now that everything else has been stripped away, the only thing they're left with is their issues. Isolation is one of the worst things for mental health issues. That's why most shrinks and therapists recommend group therapy for a lot of people to prevent social anxiety, agoraphobia, self-isolating thoughts that create these delusions of grandeur that people have all the right answers. None of us have all the answers. We could probably get together and come up with all the answers, but no one person or group has all the answers. Anyone who says they do, they really need to be on an antipsychotic. Which I am, by the way. Just keep in mind, though, people on the whole are very touchy right now, very grouchy, and people like me are seeing the reality of the situation where people are taking advantage of it. And, yeah, it really ticks me off, but what can I do? I'm one guy and I have no power. If I had the power to make some changes, there'd be a lot made, definitely. And not gradually, it'd be a slam dunk in your face, but I'm a person who believes that we've been in trouble here for a long time, and we just keep heading farther into it. Today I'm going to get back on some more cleaning, just cleaning the doorknobs, thresholds, all that stuff, drawer pulls, all those things we touch. Because even though we're not infected, it's still a good idea to make sure these things are clean. A while back Sam had a cold and it just wasn't going away. But that first time I cleaned all the doorknobs, thresholds, all that stuff, her cold was gone in 2 days. Doing things like this would probably be a good thing for some people, not all, because if you're not of the mind to try and do something rational, something helpful, or even something to vent a little bit without sounding, I don't know, crazy, it gives you something to do, and it gives other people something to do. They're watching it. It helps them step outside the confines of their four walls and the inside of their head. I don't know. At this time, we all have to do something beyond ourselves, and I figure this is it. I was always shy about being in front of the camera. And, excuse me. So here I am now. The medical marijuana thing has given me a whole new outlook. Because, I was just a pothead most of my life. I didn't know why exactly, but there was something that felt like I needed to be doing it. And I mean that beyond just simple, addiction, I gotta have it. Which is a part of it, yes, even for potheads. But since, getting my medical marijuana card, I discovered that there are certain strains or types of, like, medical vapes, which is what I use, that affect different things. I use a product called Ratio, which means it's so many parts THC to so many parts CBD. It's unlocked my mind. Not completely, but it's the most clear-headed I've been since my stroke in 2000. And I'm starting to get used to it, but it's still kind of shocking. I mean, you spend 20 years in a fog, and something suddenly lifts it. It's like, wow, what happened? Major change. And, that's another point, too. People could be using this situation to find out what works better for them than what they've been doing. And here comes Frisky. But anyway, I'm going to keep it a little shorter this morning. Try not to be like me and get totally annoyed with people. If you are, try to remember, simple way to look at it, serenity prayer. God, give me the serenity. God, give me the serenity. Oh my God, I forgot the dang serenity prayer. But basically, don't try and control things you have no control over. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, the wisdom to know the difference. There you go. None of us really uses wisdom like we used to, and we need to be wise about this situation. We need to look out for each other. It doesn't matter if a person's a complete stranger. If you think you can help them, you should. Just don't take it too far. I talked a little bit yesterday in a video about worship. It's definitely good to have faith in this situation. Just don't blindly believe it's going to be all right. Even if you received a feeling from God that it's going to be all right, does not mean to stop using common sense, because common sense is what will get us through this. God's not a magician. He depends on us to do what we're supposed to do to get the right outcome. Anybody who, that's kind of like praying for, oh God, please get me a new car. And then they somehow find a way to buy the car and they think God did it. You could argue either way on that. Maybe God gave them the motivation to figure out how to get the car, but He did not give them the car. Just like God is not going to just magically cure this, He's dependent on us to do our part to cure it. And that's the way it works, Oh, side note. I'm hearing that a lot of people, I don't know the faiths, which religions, particular religious castes or whatever you call them that it is, but some people are saying Jesus will protect us, and they're not wearing masks. They're gathering in churches and other places. God does not protect the stupid. He will gladly let you screw yourself up. Now, He will help you recover from that. But if you keep, throwing good sense to the wind, He's just going to be like, you know what? Go ahead, make your mistake. I'll be here when you're done. And that's the truth of it. If you don't see that, you really haven't read the Bible cover to cover. We have free will for a reason, because He wants to see what we'll do with it. And I apologize to anyone this may bother if you don't believe in God or if you believe in something else. That you are perfectly right to be able to do that. I have no problem with that. Um, I just, I believe in God. So does Sam. And I was raised in Catholic school, Catholic church, which is largely the reason I am the person I am today, with morals, convictions, and all that. I was a virgin until I was 18 and engaged. And I would have waited till I was married. I kind of got tricked. you know. But the faith thing is really good right now because the moral background is very helpful. It reminds you to be outside of yourself, and that is very important right now. Even though we're isolated, we need to think of others. I guess I went ahead and ran it as long anyway. But day 4, like I said, was grouchy for me. Today's day 5. We'll see how this goes. Pollen's really bad this morning, choking me up every time I go outside. So maybe I shouldn't go outside, right? I'm a smoker. Unfortunately, I haven't found a way to quit yet. But anyway, y'all be safe today. This Tuesday, April 7th. Try to use good sense. Try to use a mask, please, because even if you're not around somebody coughing, you don't know who they've been around. And truthfully speaking, the people you've been around, you don't know if they might pop up sick, which means they may have had the germs when you saw them last. So please wear a mask if you're out in public, visiting friends, whatever. I understand it feels weird to invite people to your home and then wear masks and ask them to wear masks. I know it feels weird because me thinking of it feels weird, but the reality of it is it's a good idea. We're going to try and have a card night, us and some of the neighbors, and it occurs to me that while we're doing that, we should probably all wear masks and maybe even take pictures of it. So this is a real poker face. Yeah, this is what I was thinking. But y'all have a happy Tuesday. Try to, don't raid the stores. Just do your normal shopping. Hope you're finding ways to keep occupied. There are definitely lots of them. Don't just sit in front of the TV or the computer, please. Read a book, get outside in your yard, and do some stuff, as long as you're not sick. And, catch up with some friends you haven't talked to in forever. Go through your friends list on Facebook, maybe weed out some people who really don't need to be there. I know I do that regularly because when people, when they show me they just aren't concerned at all with who I am or what I'm doing or anything, why do I need them around? These are people I grew up with who are supposed to be my good friends, and they're making 18, 20 posts a day and not looking at anything me or Sam posts. I mean, not literally not looking at it, let alone liking it or commenting. That's not a friend. I don't look at my Facebook feed a lot, but I try to make an effort to weed through it a little bit at least. And I don't know. We all have our own standards. Mine have gotten a lot tighter since prison because I realize there's a different definition of a true friend than I used to know. A true friend is always there for you, no matter what. If they don't have time right now, they find time later. So, latch on to what friends you got, people. Have a happy Tuesday. Stay safe, stay well, and stay home. Peace.